What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Zay Moolah Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. And man, y'all, on today's episode, y'all see this on your screen. As Shams has reported that the Los Angeles Clippers are looking to trade for more future draft picks as they attempt to acquire James Harden. Y'all, this is an absolutely stupid move. A stupid move. Because if the Clippers want to acquire more draft picks, bro, why don't you actually save those draft picks? Because y'all already mortgaged your future to get Paul George. The Clippers have already mortgaged their future to get Paul George. And the guy that you gave up to get him was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So why in the world would you want to bring James Harden on this team, considering that the mess the Clippers are already in? You look at Kawhi Leonard. Listen, I'm a big fan of Kawhi Leonard. Y'all know, everybody that knows me knows I've always called Kawhi my twin. But listen, man, Kawhi just turned 32. You know, y'all like 32 is young, and it is young. But y'all, with all them injuries that Kawhi has had, Kawhi really, he feel like he LeBron age. Kawhi, it seems like LeBron is like, LeBron. It seems like Kawhi is like 38 or 39 because of all the injuries that he's had. His body's already broken down so much. You look at Paul George, same thing. Paul George is going to be 34 in May, y'all. 34. But he feels older than that. Why? Because all the injuries. So why in the world would the Clippers want to mortgage their future even more and bring in a guy in James Harden who's just turned 34 in August? We just saw what happened to him in the playoffs, man, against the Boston Celtics. He had two great games, that 45-point game in game one, and then that 42-point game. That was it. This dude disappeared like a ghost, man. Why would the Clippers want to do this? Do y'all realize, man, since the 2020 season, James Harden has asked for 3 trades. He asked for a trade out of Houston, he asked for a trade out of Brooklyn, and now he's asked for a trade out of Philly. Listen, James Harden is one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. He's one of the greatest shooting guards in NBA history. And obviously, he's one of the greatest players of this generation. But at the end of the day, man, this dude is a declining player. He disappears in the playoffs. And he pouts if he doesn't get his way. He did it in Houston, right? The Rockets were not going to trade him at first. What did he do? He pouted. He came into training camp overweight. Then what did he do with the Nets, y'all? He started sitting out games because he was mad they want to trade him. And now what is he doing with the Sixers? He ain't even playing in the preseason games. Heck, he ain't even showing up to the preseason games. He's only practiced one time since training camp started. Once. I have absolutely no idea why the Clippers want to trade for James Harden. I get it. Listen, I get it, Clippers. This Kawhi and Paul George duo, it ain't been that dynamic because you're going in year 5 and you hadn't even reached the NBA Finals yet. The Clippers are going into year 5 with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and have not even reached the NBA Finals once. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Lakers in their first year when they traded for AD won the entire championship. They didn't just go to it. They won it. The Clippers hadn't even been to the finals yet. So we know, yes, this has been an epic failure. 5 years in, you hadn't even been to the finals yet. Kawhi and Paul George have done nothing really. I mean, they played, but y'all, they've been injured a lot. They've low managed a lot. And even though they've low managed, they still got hurt. You're looking at a Clippers team, y'all. This is an old team. An old team. Marcus Morris, senior, he's 34. Rusty, as y'all see in this picture, he's going to be 35 next month. Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, Norman Powell, he's going to be 31. Like, they got a lot of older guys on this team. So why would you bring in an older guy in James Harden who's 34, who's declining, not the same player he was 3, 4, 5 years ago? And you're sitting here trying to trade for more draft picks to trade for James Harden instead of either one, keeping those draft picks and starting to draft young players so you can develop them, because the Clippers absolutely need youth on this team. The only young guys they have on this team are Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, who they probably will have to trade. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. If the Clippers get James Harden, I don't see how Terrence Mann is not going to be a part of that trade, because to make the money work, he's going to have to be. He's at least going to have to be one of the players involved in the trade. And Terrence Mann is one of the few young guys even on this team. It's literally only him, Bones Highland, and Kenyon Martin Jr. That's it. The rest of this team is old, man. The Clippers need youth on this team. Not trading for a guy that's 34, that's moody, that's declining, that's asked for a trade 3 times in the last 3 years, that's disappeared in playoff games. Him and his coaches don't even see eye to eye. Y'all heard, man, last week when Doc Rivers on ESPN. He said the relationship between him and James Harden, he said it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. He said it was in between. I mean, come on, y'all. Why would the Clippers want to go through this? I get it. Steve Ballmer, listen, he's probably one, he might be the richest owner in the NBA. But, bro, you're not a general manager. You don't know how to construct a team. Just because you got a lot of money does not mean you know how to construct a team. Because you look at the Clippers and some of the decisions that they have made. Like, y'all signed, and he's not even on the team anymore. Like, you signed Luke Kennard, gave him a $60 million deal. You signed Marcus Morris Sr. to a $64 million deal. Marcus Morris Sr. got benched last year. And then Luke Kennard got traded at the trade deadline. So 2 guys that you gave $124 million to, one wasn't even on the team anymore, and one got benched. Then you talk about last year, y'all trade for Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is way past his prime. Way past his prime. Last year, y'all signed John Wall. He's past his prime. Like, the Clippers continue to just make a questionable decision. Steve Ballmer, man, his problem is he's so worried about the big names. But do these big names still have big games? John Wall, man, we know John Wall, listen, John Wall ain't the same guy he was with the Wizards. He ain't the Wizard of Wall no more. He ain't that. Eric Gordon is not the same player he was when he was with the Clippers and Rockets and even Pelicans. He's not the same guy. He's older. Marcus Morris Sr., same thing with him, man. And Luke Kennard is an elite 3-point shooter, but that's all he can do. And now you're thinking about trying to get more draft picks only to use those draft picks to go trade for James Harden. Really, man? Really? Wow. I mean, I cannot believe it, y'all. I really cannot believe that the Clippers are actually looking at trying to get more draft picks only to use said draft picks to go trade for James Harden. I don't get it. First of all, from a fit perspective, that fit would be horrible, I think, because James Harden and Russ can't even be on the court at the same time. We saw what happened in Houston, man. Now, they both of them put up some great numbers that year. But for one, they're both not even the same players they were 4 years ago. Like, everyone knows that James Harden and Russell Westbrook are not the same players that they were in 2019 when they played with each other versus what they are now. So that will not work. They are two ball dominant players, and Russ Westbrook is not a good 3-point shooter. So it's not like you say, "Hey, Russ, just go be a spot up shooter," while James Harden does all his dribbling. That ain't gonna work. And then y'all know the kind of coach Ty Lue is, man. We heard Ty Lue. He even criticized Kawhi and Paul George at the end of the season, saying what did they need to start playing, and that we weren't gonna keep doing all this sitting out and low managing. So how do you think Ty Lue and James Harden, how do you think they would work with each other, y'all? Y'all really think that partnership will work? Because I don't think so. And then here's the thing. James Harden's on a 1-year deal. He opted into his player option back in June, a 1-year deal. So let's say he gets traded to the Clippers and things don't go well. Well, guess what, y'all? All those draft picks that you gave up to get him, he could just leave next year and say, you know what? Nah, I'm out. I don't want to be a Clipper anymore. And you have just wasted draft picks on a guy that was there for 1 year. Think about that. But I guess Steve Ballmer, again, he ain't thinking about that. He's like, who is James Harden? James Harden. Future Hall of Famer, top 75 NBA player of all time. But Steve Ballmer, you got to look at it from a fit perspective, my brother. And from a fit perspective, it just does not make work. Or excuse me, it does not make sense. This is an old roster. The last thing the Clippers need is another old guy who's regressing. They already got enough of those players on their team. And Russ, Marcus Morris Sr., Robert Covington. I forgot they also got, I just thought about it in my head, Mason Plumlee. He's getting ready to be 34 next year. They don't need any more old guys, man. You need some young legs on this team. You need some dudes that can carry your franchise for years to come. Because Kawhi and Paul George and Russ and Marcus Morris, all these other guys would not be here in 2 or 3 years. Some of them won't even be here next year. Clippers, do not do this. Don't do this. And to all the Clippers fans out there, y'all should not want this to happen. I get it. It's James Harden. He's a big name, 10-time All-Star, future Hall of Famer, one of the greatest scorers this league has ever seen. I get it. I get all of that. But he's not the same guy anymore. He's moody. He disappears in the playoffs. He clashes with his head coaches, and he clashes with his general manager. As we see what's going on with the whole Daryl Morey situation, he said he was a liar and he'll never play for an organization that Daryl Morey is a part of. We seen all that, man. We saw what Doc Rivers said last week, that they had a rocky relationship. Clippers, y'all already have enough mess, right? 5 years. This is the 5th year with Kawhi and Paul George. And y'all haven't even made it to the finals yet. Forget about winning it. Y'all hadn't even been there yet. Meanwhile, my Lakers, man, we went there first year, got AD, paired AD up with LeBron, won the championship. Y'all hadn't even been there yet. And you ain't getting there this year. Because the Western Conference, you got the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Suns, even though I'm like, I worry about the Suns because the Suns, I don't like them because of their defense and they don't have enough depth. I don't like their bench. But you got the Suns, though. The Kings are coming. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, Davion Mitchell. I like what the Kings got over there. I really do. I like what the Kings are doing. You got the Thunder, a young up-and-coming team. Josh Giddey, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, his first year. Jalen Williams, both of the Jalen Williams kids. I like both of them. This Western Conference is really, really, really tough, y'all. Really tough Western Conference. You still got the Grizzlies, especially when Ja comes back. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Steven Adams, Xavier Tillman, Marcus Smart now on the team, and Derrick Rose on the team. So this Western Conference is really, really loaded. And I look at the Clippers, I'm like, man, they just continue to get older and slower. And you look at the rest of the teams in this conference, they're what? They're getting younger, better, faster, more athletic. But the Clippers are going the other way, where the rest of the teams are headed this way. That's why if the Clippers trade for James Harden, oh my goodness, y'all, it would be absolutely horrible. As a Lakers fan, I would love it because I would be laughing. I would be laughing because it makes absolutely no sense. Clippers, y'all have already mortgaged your future when you traded for Paul George. And not only did you give all them picks to get Paul George, but you gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. And SGA, man, this dude looks like a superstar in the making. A superstar in the making. And he only 25 years old. He ain't even hit his prime yet. Paul George, his prime is darn near over. And again, I love Paul George. I love Kawhi, Russ. But we got to keep it funky, y'all. We got to keep it funky. At the end of the day, Kawhi, Paul George, and Russ, they're not the same guys they used to be. And if you trade for James Harden, you'd be adding yet another guy that is not the same as he used to be. And that is not what this Clipper team needs. Because Clipper fans, y'all don't have a future, man. You don't. You don't have a future. I see these other teams, they got players they can build around. I look at the Nuggets. They got a Michael Porter Jr., obviously Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I look at my Lakers, even when LeBron retires, AD, Austin Reeves, D-Lo, Christian Wood, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent. Look at the Kings, Davion Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk. I look at the Rockets. They got Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Tariq Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Sengun. Come on, y'all. Clippers. Don't do this. Don't do it. Look at the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, Desmond Bain. Come on, y'all. David Roddy. The Thunder, as I mentioned earlier, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, both of the Jalen Williams kids, Trey Mann, Cason Wallace. And then you look at the Clippers, y'all. Nobody. Like Keith Sweat said, nobody. Clippers fans, y'all better hope and pray that your organization does not go down this road. Don't fall for the big names that no longer have the big games. James Harden is still a big name. He's still a really good player. He averaged, 21 points last year, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. Shot nearly 39% from three, 87% from the free throw line. He's still a really good player. But at the end of the day, he does not have it like he used to. And as I mentioned, y'all, he's a moody player. He disappears in the playoffs. He clashes with his coaches. He clashes with his GM. And his body is darn near about to give out on him. So Steve Ballmer, if you listening to me, man, brother, I know you worth a lot of money. But you got to be smarter, man. You got to be smarter. And you got to start thinking, am I hurting this team or am I helping us? If you trade with James Harden, never do more hurt because it was set the Clippers back even more. Y'all already set back when you traded all those picks to get Paul George. But if you trade for James Harden, give up even more picks, potentially give up some of your young guys like a Terrence Mann or a Bones Highland, that's gonna set y'all back even more. Because as I stated earlier, man, James Harden is on a 1-year deal. So if this thing ends up, y'all end up trading for him and it does not work out, he's gonna be up out of LA. Y'all gonna be without probably 2 or 3 first-round picks, without a couple of young players, all for nothing. All for a guy who was on the team for 1 little year. Steve Ballmer, is that really worth it, man? Is it really worth it? Just be careful. Be careful going for the big names that no longer have the big games. So, y'all, I want to play y'all this little clip of what James had to say about his relationship with the Sixers and how he wanted to retire Sixers, all that stuff, and then I will be out y'all's way. Here he is, y'all. Hear ye, James Harden.
My whole thing was I wanted to retire a Sixer. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be here and retire a Sixer, and the front office didn't have that in their future plans. You know what I mean? So it's literally out of my control. It's something that I didn't want to happen, and it's just to be in this position. But I got to make a decision for my family. I understand this is a business. You know what I mean? So,
y'all hear what James Harden said? He wanted to what? Retire Sixer. But they didn't have any plans. James Harden, hey, listen, man. I don't know what they promised you. I don't know if they ever promised you anything. I don't know what might have been said behind the scenes, but I will say this, my brother. You're one of the greatest players of all time. You're one of the greatest shooting guards of all time. One of the greatest scorers this generation has ever seen. At the end of the day, man, you're not the same player that you once were. And I know it's a tough pill to swallow. Because James Harden, man, you were the man with them Rockets days, averaging 36 points, winning MVP, leading the league in assists, getting real close to going to the finals, battling with that 2018 Warriors team, actually being up 3-2. But, dog, them days are over, man. Not the same player you once were. And it's time for you to see it, man. I know you want to be in LA, and it seems like you might get your wish granted. But, as the old people always say, be careful what you wish for. So, that was another episode of the Zay Moolah Sports podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, folks, y'all know I'm going to end it, man. I love y'all. God bless. Y'all say it with me. Peace.